I founded Autobiographer about a year and a half ago. I'm a Marin native, and I live here in San Rafael with my wife, Chelsea, and my son, Harrison. I also was in the Army for about 10 years, served on active duty, and decided to come home to Marin because I knew this is where I wanted to start my family, and fortunately get to start this lovely company. Our mission at Autobiographer is to discover, preserve, and tell people's stories and share those with the people they love most. And we're doing that primarily through AI conversation. I'm gonna spend my time up here telling you a personal story of why I decided to start this company. And in the vein of autobiographer storytelling, I'm gonna do so quite vulnerably and quite personally. This is my friend Sean, who I served in the Army with for over 10 years. Sean died of cancer in 2018, and about the entire time I was in the Army with him, over 9 years, he was battling cancer. Multiple times he had to go to the hospital. He got really, really sick. He had to do chemo and radiation, but he's an extremely strong person. And so we witnessed him come back, take units to Afghanistan, deploy to combat and lead troops. And even, as you can see there, earn his Green Beret and become a Special Forces officer and then lead Special Forces teams in Asia. Sean was a really, really powerful person. And my favorite thing about him was he's an amazing family person, and I learned a lot about him as watching him in fatherhood. He had kids a couple years before I did, so I got to see how he built his family and what a great dad he was. That's him in 2013 in Tacoma, Washington, with his eldest son, Killian, on his shoulders. Now, I could tell pretty much endless stories about Sean, and I sometimes do to the Autobiographer app and then send those stories to his kids, but I'll tell you one really quick one so you get an idea of who he was. And it's about that pig you see there. We used to move about every year in the Army for 10 years, and Sean was a really gregarious guy, so he wanted to make friends wherever he went. And so he decided to essentially start a catering company, but not a real one, just to buy all the catering equipment on his Army salary. And that included what you could see there. He has a huge toad pig smoker that can smoke a whole pig. He ordered custom t-shirts for each event. That one is the Notorious PIG, so a Biggie theme. And even though he never told us what the cost was, he bought that giant inflatable pig and named these events Pigapalooza. I asked him a bunch of times, all of our friends asked him a bunch of times, even his wife Katie asked him, how much did that pig cost? And he never told us. We think upwards of $5,000 though, so essentially a very, very expensive joke, and that's just who Sean was. This is a tough photo, but one I like to look back on quite a lot because it helps me remember that we don't know how much time we have to tell the stories to people we love and to share those cherished moments with the people that we sometimes take for granted that we're with every day. This is 2018 in West Point, New York at Sean's funeral, and this is me and including all of the friends we made in the military and what we call our Brotherhood of Arms. These men are important because each of them has a piece of Sean's story. Each of them has a funny story like the pig, like I do. Each of them in Sean's care for cancer has bits of his wisdom. In fact, he told us, which kids he wanted to join the Army if they were up for it, where he would like them to go to school, how many ski trips a year we as the uncles were to do with him. So we got a lot of knowledge along the way, and we didn't have an app like Autobiographer to take care of it, so we just did our best with, analog systems, essentially. Here is the really happy part and the part I enjoy. Every couple of years, myself and all the men you saw in that photo go up to Alaska where Sean's family went to reside after his passing and where his wife Katie is from. Every year, we take the pig out, we do a Pigapalooza. You can see photos of us cleaning it off there. And then there are photos, there's my wife and I, Chelsea, with our son Harrison and the kids. And then my best friend Joe and his kids with Katie's kids. And then you can see all three of the kids who are my godchildren, Nessa, Nora, and Killian, underneath the pig at a recent Pigapalooza. I tell this story because this is the essence of Autobiographer. We want to be able to give someone effortless technology they can talk to right on their phone to tell their stories and then send them to people they love. I do it all the time, as I mentioned, and I send these stories to those kids, and they love hearing about it. Just this week, Killian texted me and asked, did Dad love balloons, and what was his favorite color? I don't know that answer, so I had to query all the guys to figure out who had the answer, but we can assume that Sean loved balloons. I'll quickly show you the app itself. This is Discover, Preserve, and Tell. So Discover, it's a one-click button and then a conversation with your private biographer. That conversation is dynamic. It doesn't ask form questions. It gets to know you, and it feels very much like a human biographer that you paid to follow you around is cataloging your life so you can write a book. We also preserve those conversations, private, encrypted, and biometrically protected in a vault, and they don't go anywhere until you're ready to share them, if you ever share them. You can build people, places, things, and other topics, and talk about what's important to you as you build your life story. And when you're ready, it'll become a full-length book. The biographer is always writing your book in the background based off everything you say, and in the interim, you can actually take specific people, places, or things and have it write short stories about them that you can then send out. I sent my mom a Mother's Day letter. I sent my best friend a story about us being in the Army together, and it's a really enjoyable way to share gratitude and to connect with people. I'd be remiss if I didn't add the fact that we have an editorial partner in Katie Couric. She saw an early beta, did a walk with it, and became a fan and signed up to partner with us. We get the question all the time, how did you train this to become a good biographer? How do you get it to be a good interviewer? And we took inspiration from Katie, as well as one of our best friends is a New York Times bestselling author, and we have a close friend that is a college professor and NPR podcast host who's an English professor. So those are how we train the biographer. That's it for me. I'm at table 14 if you want to come talk. I'd love to hear ideas about where the biographer can go next. And I have a QR code for a free subscription if you want to check it out, so please try it. Thank you.